So you might want to learn how to make an animation like that, and I'll basically go through the process of what I did. Oops. Okay. Open up your After Effects, and then let me go to the program. Let me go to I believe it's this one. So if you want to learn how to make an animation like that, it's pretty simple actually. I can go step by step on how I did it. So initially, it doesn't even start with After Effects. It starts with the background and the setting. So basically, what I did was I'll put the screen recording or the video of me making the background, and I just took a reference from one of the videos of one something like that. Like it was just like a reference, and then I just like copied. You save that as a PSD file, and you import that into After Effects. But after that, you get something like this. So this is my background that I drew, and these are all things I did. For the first part, I actually rigged the whole thing to, I don't know how to explain it, but I rigged the whole thing where like based off of where everything is. So if you move it if you move it a certain way, everything else will move. So if you go like that, and then like, oh shit, too much. If you go like that, it moves a certain way. You go like that, it moves a certain way. But it is kind of glitchy. I don't know why. I did freak up some of my parenting part. I don't really know, but I just made this. That part is really cool. I really like the way the things like wiggle. So I did that with a wiggle expression or a wiggle effect. I believe it's rotation. And make sure you have the anchor point at the base. Let's move on to the next section. Or let me explain what I did. So if I can find this. Okay, and I have a whole different composition where I made I made the character in a separate composition, and I would copy this and then paste it into my main composition, and that's where I would actually animate it. Excuse me, sorry. So let's move on to this section. This part, this was my first time actually using a shape layer to animate. Like usually I only use the shape layer for the mouth, but this time I used it for the whole character. So for everything about this character is a shape layer. And wait, sorry. So the body is probably the most important part because it is in two sections, the front one and the back one. And you might be like, what do you mean the front one and the back one? So if I make the back not visible, you can tell it loses that 3D effect. Add it back in, and then if I remove the front, it's just like the back layer. Oh, that looks really weird. But it's really cool because with the shape layer, you have the ability to like animate any of the points. The mouth is also much like the body. It's composed of like I think 3 different parts or 2 different parts. Same with the legs. The legs probably the hardest part for me because I don't have a hard time struggling with like perspective. And it was just like kind of hard to like pose, I guess. With the paper flying, it's like a project file I found online for free, and you just like put in an image, and I changed some stuff about it. And then the paper on the table. Oh, what happened? The paper on the table. Oh, right here. I'm using a mesh warp to give it the perspective effect. Like, once you learn, I think 1 point perspective, imagine the point is in the center of 1. So all the lines have to be going towards that point. That's why when it's closer, it's more wider, and then when it's outer or like more towards in, it's more inner, if that makes sense. And then I use a page turn to give it that 3D effect. It's not really 3D. And a drop shadow, a small drop shadow. But I will say for animation, mesh warp is really helpful because you can move all the points. You can mess around with that. There's a lot of things you can do with that. And I didn't even know about mesh warp until it was like maybe like this month, honestly. Like, I knew it was an effect, but I never used it for animation. I usually used liquify. And then this part, for this part, I drew it out. So like, here are some of my drawings I did. I didn't really use all of it. Like, I didn't use this lip syncing, so I just scribbled that out. Or I didn't use the one where like 1 is on the table. I thought that was kind of stupid at the end. And then this is like the beginning. Oh, I drew it out on paper, so then I have a better grasp on the perspective. I don't even think I did the perspective right. Like, the chair doesn't seem right, but someone can comment about that. And with the shape, you just like, I don't know, I'm not really good at explaining. You pull back the back, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess what I could say that, that I did use a mesh warp on the body, and then I put the face to do, like, go like that. I guess I could say that. That one is pretty simple. It's just like normal. This part I just move because everything is parented to a waist, and then I move the waist to over here. So yeah, and then give it that 3D effect with the body. Same with this one. I actually just like, wait, no, sorry. I just reflected this animation to here. And then I had to change the body because if you reflected it, it would have looked like a backwards one. But the legs are reflected. I believe the face is reflected, maybe. But I don't know. And this part probably the easiest part. I copied the animation from earlier and I just pasted it here. And then I gave it that sliding effect where it's like bouncing away. And I made a 3D model of the TV. So I put it in a different composition because I want to organize my stuff. I just use a reference photo, I believe. Yeah, I used this reference photo for the TV, and I made the switches or buttons like on ajfd. Yeah, that's practically it. I just wanted to show that if anyone wanted to know or was curious about animation on After Effects.